Hello and welcome everyone. This is Type V3 with an S.H.Figuarts review of the Kamen Rider Drive villain, Mashin Chaser, also known as the Grim Reaper and the Guardian of the Roidmudes. Mashin Chaser's suit design is a mechanical monstrosity, and this S.H.Figuarts representation nails the look. There's overcomplicated surface sculpting, seemingly random silver piping, and gorgeously vibrant violet metallic armor. The body carries so many intriguing layers and depth to it, with the tampo on the shoulder pad being a nice touch. The helmet is just about perfect with its asymmetrical layout and piercing orange compound eyes. Proportionally, his body carries some nice chunks to it, though he's not quite as beastly as his on-screen counterpart. If anything, his abdomen is a little too narrow. I do have a couple issues with the finish of the figure. The black plastic actually contains a very faint metallic flake to it. However, because it's so slight, on flatter surfaces, it gives the appearance of cheap, dull plastic. It's especially noticeable on the lower legs. It's a similar story with the silver piping too, though their dullness is only made more apparent by the richness of the silver paint used in the helmet and the shoulder pad. These aren't the most detrimental issues, but they do take away from the cohesiveness of the toy. Regardless, the overall appearance remains great. SHF Mashin Chaser stands at about the 5.5-inch mark. It's within the expected size, though I do find it strange that he's slightly smaller than Kamen Rider Drive. Articulation starts with a double ball-jointed neck, so you can get pretty decent range all around with the head in any direction you want. None of these pieces, these pipes, or even the squareness of the helmet impede anything, so it works quite well. The torso itself, you can tell here, it kind of actually just looks like a square block with a ball joint at the bottom and a ball joint at the top of it, so you can get a really decent rolling ab crunch going on. The actual ab crunch itself isn't the greatest. I mean, it works, but it doesn't offer the most range. Still, you can get some good and decent side-to-side and I guess more emotive stances. For the arms, you're looking at a ball hinge inside of a ball socket that rolls around, so you can get a bit more movable range. It's the standard Figuarts setup, with this shoulder pad being on a separate hinge that it's a double jointed hinge, so it slides down and then slides outwards to get out of your way. You have a bicep swivel, a double jointed elbow, though the range is a bit limited due to the bulkier armor design. The wrists themselves are ball joints on a ball hinge, so that's some pretty awesome movement you can get. And just to show you this other side, this shoulder pad is a bit different. It's actually just a ball joint connection on this panel here that just has a loose opening, so it kind of slides around and moves along with the arm. The hips are the current S.H.Figuarts setup. They do have one neat trick to them, though. They have this little panel here on the side of the waist, and this is specific to Chaser's design. What it does is it moves upwards, and it's easier to see on this one. It moves upwards so that when you move the leg upwards, it gets out of the way. Now that moves naturally, and you kind of have to move it back into place when you move the leg back, but it's still a really cool feature. The outward range is pretty decent. I mean, no problems there. You do have a thigh swivel, double jointed knee. It's pretty decent, though I will say on this side, because of the piping, you're limited to about 90 degrees. So just take that into consideration. And for the ankles, you do have a ball hinge, good, decent pivot, ankle tilts are great, and you do have a toe joint. The bulky armor definitely plays a role in limiting articulation. It's not the most posable S.H.Figuart, still Mashin Chaser is very good by general action figure standards. For hands, you get a total of 4 pairs. There's fists, open palms, and 2 types of gripping fists. The first is for generic purposes, like for gripping the handlebars on a bike, while the second is specifically meant to wield his sole weapon, the brake gunner. It's a small, though expertly painted gun. It resembles the show model pretty accurately, too. It doesn't carry any special features, yet I always appreciate it when an action figure includes a weapon. Finally, as a first-run bonus, the Volume 2 Kamen Rider Drive Midnight Shadow set has been included. Here you'll find the Midnight Shadow tire, activated shift car, and Midnight Shadow screen for the Drive driver. If it wasn't obvious, these accessories have nothing to do with Mashin Chaser, and instead are meant for S.H.Figuarts Kamen Rider Drive. The items themselves look fantastic, particularly the metallic purple tire. Unfortunately, the matching Midnight Shadow effect parts aren't included, and instead can only be found separately with Mashin Chaser's bike, the Ride Chaser. When Mashin Chaser first appeared in Kamen Rider Drive, I knew that if there was one character I'd want a figure of from the show, it would be him. Between the asymmetrical complexity and the dark color scheme, it was a design that I instantly fell in love with, and this S.H.Figuarts representation faithfully delivers all that in a 6-inch action figure package. The presentation isn't perfect, still, be it a glance or a stare, it offers plenty of visual appeal. Playability is solid and accessories are acceptable. I would have liked the inclusion of the Toon Chaser upgrade parts, though with their size, I can understand why Bandai have decided to sell them as a separate set. What's puzzling is the inclusion of accessories for a completely separate figure. I suppose it's an effective marketing strategy. Ultimately, S.H.Figuarts Mashin Chaser is a good release. It's a fine action figure coupled with the bare essentials. Complete satisfaction hinges on your attachment to the character and the source fiction. That said, if the design speaks to you, you're in for a fun toy. But that's all for me. Thanks for watching, and don't break away just yet, because a new hero will soon arrive at the speed of sound.